And hello everyone, and welcome back to week 80 of our Minecraft Let's Play series. How are y'all doing? I hope you're all doing very well this fine week. And yeah, without further ado, we're just gonna hop straight into what we got going on this week. Of course, as per usual, we got our villager hall with the more masons. I'm still trying to work on that, and you guys are probably getting tired of it. I'm getting slightly tired of it, but we still need to do it because it is important to what I want to get done before the end of year 2. We've got piglin bartering gold input. I went ahead and, as you saw, traded with some of our piglins. Got a little bit more iron, so hopefully that can help when it comes to creating the gold input and make my job easier. We've got the jelly statue nether room. We went ahead and did our base nether room last time, and I thought the jelly one would be the next best one to work on. Flower farm, which is probably not going to be as big as you may think. I'll get to that in a little bit. We've also got some jelly statue work with fences and greenery, mainly on those tiny platforms around the jelly statue, and then possible base decoration. I'm not too sure what we'll do with base decoration, but it's on here just in case I decide to do that. That was a mouthful, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and head straight to our nether portal so that we can go ahead and get to work on the villager hall masons. Let's go through. I have already forgotten that we made the little area and got very confused where we were for a second. But you all know the drill. We're going to go ahead and take these villagers and move them one by one if they'll move out of the way. Oh, there's 9 in here. That makes a lot more sense. But nonetheless, we'll still send them through the portal just the same. And do the same for the other 8 villagers if they will cooperate, is the statement there. And now that all 9 of them are here, and some of them are excited to actually get into here apparently, we'll go ahead and start moving them over as per usual, where we'll actually be leaving 5 of them as backups this time, which is, I think, the largest amount I've ever had as backup. And now that the other 4 villagers are actually in, we'll go ahead and trade with them their brick trades first, and then trade with them a bunch of stone, and now check out their other stone trades. And now to check out what terracottas I have. This guy has red and pink, neither of which we need, and he does not have good stone trades anyway, so we are not going to keep him. This guy has light gray and cyan, both of which we already have, so we're not keeping this guy either. This guy has both purple and gray, neither of which we need, so this guy goes. And this guy has light blue terracotta as well as green. We actually do need light blue, but we don't need polished granite. So who is our polished granite trade? Well, this is awkward. The ones that we actually have extras of are not any that have that trade. It's polished diorite and granite, or it's diorite and andesite. Is it really worth getting rid of whoever's trading green? Who is trading green anyway? It's you over here. Okay, you have a polished granite trade as well. I'm not gonna change that. I'm just gonna get rid of the new one. I'm sorry, but you need to have good stone trades if you're gonna stay here. Alright, next batch. Alright, this one now has a quartz trade, so you're already out of the group. This one has green and black, neither of which we need. This one has yellow and blue, neither of which we need. This one has light blue and light gray. Again, neither of which we need, means we are down to 1 more villager, and I do not have high hopes. I also should have mentioned that the trades we're currently looking for are light blue and brown regular terracotta, while we're looking for magenta glazed terracotta, just in case anyone was curious. And we have blue and pink terracotta. Alright, that was a massive failure. With 9 villagers, we have filled in 0 more slots. I mean, I should expect this. It's a very low chance to get 3 of the specific terracotta colors, but I was hoping that with 9 villagers and 18 chances that we would have gotten at least one of them, which we technically did, but the rock that was accompanying with it was not a good one for us. And yes, I'm going to be that picky when it comes to these because I want to have the best possible trades. Oh well, that's just how it is sometimes. So I guess now, with a little bit of failure when it comes to our villager hall, it's time for us to head back and go to the next thing that we have planned for this week. So I shall meet you guys over at our base for that. And what we have planned next is actually in this shulker box that I have right next to me. Now, it may look like a random assortment of items, and kinda is, but all of these are going to be used in decorating around our Jelly statue. So I'll meet you guys over next to Jelly. Alright, now that we are here in Jelly, what we're going to be using all those items for is actually detailing around our platforms here, because, well, I just feel like they could use a little bit of detailing, because they're quite bare bones, and the fact that you can just jump up onto them. It didn't sit right with me. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is place a line of these deep tile fences around, or not fences, but walls, so that it creates a sort of border like so. And then around here, we're going to go ahead and place down a flowering azalea leaf, then 2 regular leaves, and then just kind of keep repeating that pattern until we hit the other edge. And then we're going to keep doing that around all 4 corners. And you might be wondering why we're using azalea a lot recently and not even like oak or dark oak or stuff like that. And that's just because of the fact that we have a savanna biome, I believe, over in that direction, and that's gonna turn any leaves into a yellowish color that I don't want. So that's why we're using azalea, as well as we're gonna be using some moss carpets to kind of just place around on these like so, and we'll do that around the whole thing. And then the finished product actually looks like this. And here's how it looks like with all 16 having the fences, leaves, and the moss carpets around them. Obviously you can't see the flowering azaleas from here, but that's fine. You don't necessarily need to see them, but we all know they're there. I will admit there are some things that do kind of bother me about it. Don't get me wrong, if it's green like this around the entire thing, it doesn't look bad. It's just when you get to like these yellow patches that I will admit it looks very out of place. And who knows, maybe I'll change this in the future, but I wanted to have something around these rings, especially the fences, to kind of give them, you know, a little bit more depth, I guess. And also, I now am filling in more space for this area. Still need to figure out what I want to do with that and over here, as well as between these. So we're not out of the woods yet, but that's all I'm going to be doing this week for the Jellie statue. So let's head over back to our base so that I can grab some more stuff for our next project. Which what we need to grab actually is the shulker box, because the next thing that we are working on is this flower farm. Now, when I say flower farm, what we're doing is, as you probably guessed, we're making a farm for these 4 too tall plants that you can just bone meal. And with that, we also want the ability to be able to toggle these on and off and not have them all run at the same time, because I might not need all 4 dyes. I might only need red, or I might only need pink. I might need red and yellow to make orange. So we're going to make these toggleable, and I'm going to show you guys very quickly how we're going to do this. And we're going to be building this over where we have our cactus, melon farms, sea pickle farms, essentially all of our plant farms. So I'll meet you guys over there. And I guess we don't really have to like place this anywhere specific, but I think it would be nice to have in the general area. So maybe just sit it over here. It's not going to look pretty in the beginning because, well, I haven't brought any ideas to actually make it look nice, but it will be functional, and that's kind of what I am worried about at the moment. If you didn't see our ingredients, here they are, and I will actually show you guys somewhat step by step how we're going to be building this. So the first thing we'll actually go ahead and do is place down 4 dispensers in a row, and then place our flowers right in front of them, because this is how they'll be bone mealed, obviously. We'll then go ahead and place 4 hoppers on top of these so that we can insert bone meal without having to manually do so. And in front of the flowers, we will place 8 glass to cover them up, place 4 wax copper bulbs on top of that, and 4 buttons on top of those. These will be the toggles. And the way we will toggle them actually is we'll have blocks right here for 4 comparators to sit on top of the hoppers, which is a little interesting, but that's how I decided to build this, which will feed into 4 sticky pistons facing downwards with 4 solid blocks next to those. And then diagonal from those blocks, we're going to have a strip of redstone. And now I just realized that I have messed up slightly because this won't power these if this is powered, because it won't be facing into these. So I guess to fix that issue, we're going to go ahead and change these into target blocks. And after grabbing some target blocks, we now place them right here where the soda blocks were. And just because I can, I'm going to place them here to kind of close off the area. Now next to these target blocks, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to place down some observers. It's going to take a little bit of precision though. And these will be what powers the redstone, but we need another observer going into them. However, to make this as fast as possible, we need to use a piston to push the observer down into these ones. So we'll go ahead and place a row of logs here so I can go ahead and place the observers facing downwards. And this way I can go ahead and have a redstone block here and then just place a piston next to it. And now this is going to be firing as fast as possible. And I just realized I actually don't need all of these, do I? I just need one because we don't need it constantly powering this. We'll try it out with this. And if this is the case, I'm going to be saving a decent amount of resources. And in all honesty, that's really all the farm is. However, what I'm going to do though is take these minecart hoppers and use activator rails alongside some fences to place them in the correct positions. And they're somewhat there now. We can go ahead and like push them just a tiny bit inwards if we so please. They don't need to be perfect, just in somewhere in the center of the two hoppers below. And honestly, if I decide to put like a chest on these, this immediately makes it so that I can put bone meal in this. However, I'm not going to worry about that right now. But you can see that the oak logs got even put into these by themselves. So what I can do is take all of this bone meal, divvy it up into 2 stacks, place that into there, place this into here, and now all we gotta do to actually activate one of these is go ahead and press the button, and it'll just spam a bunch of flowers. We can do it for all these and turn them off whenever we want to. Now there is no collection system as of yet. I think to get a collection system we'll just have another hopper minecart just kind of running down below, but this is essentially all the farm is. This will get us a bunch of flowers, like even just running that for a few moments, this is how many flowers I got. So yeah, we now have a supply of red, yellow, pink, and purple. All we need to do is put some bone meal in it. And yeah, like I said, I do need to make it look a little bit nicer. Maybe I'll make it look like a flower bud or something like that. But for now, I'm not too worried about that. I just want to get something that would work. But yeah, that was literally all that was. Simple projects, and honestly, those are my favorite to do. Because, well, even though this did go technically wrong just a little bit, but we still managed to get it done within a very short amount of time. But I digress. Let's go ahead and, of course, head back to our base so that we can get started on the next important thing on our list. And that is actually a continuation of what we were doing last week, because now what we're going to be working on is a new nether portal room. So the thing is, last week, if you don't remember, we actually went ahead and worked on this room, the base portal room. And even though it is simplistic, I was pretty happy with it, and it's not necessarily done because I want to add paths in here for when we actually do end up connecting this with tunnels. But that's not what we're here to work on today. Instead, we're going to be working on this portal, and you might be wondering what this portal is because, well, there's not really any landmarks to tell you, and, well, it is the Jellie statue portal. I thought that because we've been doing a lot of work on this area in particular recently, I thought it'd only be fitting that we went ahead and actually did the portal room that is going to be connected up to here. And just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and work on this, and I'll be showing you basically piece by piece how this comes together. I have a plan, but it's just going to take some time to execute it. So I will see you guys along every step on the way. So first, of course, we start off with our foundation and making the usual ring around the area, as well as I went ahead and raised our nether portal, also increasing it to a 3x3. And I think with how I'm going to do this, I'm not going to place down anything in the center yet. I'm just going to work on the walls first, mainly because I'm afraid of gas spawning. So, and here we go. This is where the wall is going to be built up to. It looks a little bit weird, obviously, because I haven't stripped these yet. I was planning to do that when I can actually walk around easier, but I also went ahead and just wanted to build this up so that I could place fences here, and now gas won't spawn. Then we'll go ahead and give this a grass floor, which is going to make it so that gas can spawn again, whatever. I will worry about that another point. I would also say that last time that we built something like this, we went ahead and tried to go away from the grass because it isn't like a nice green, but we're actually going to try and embrace that this time. So yeah, this is going to be here to stay, at least part of it, because we're going to be covering up some of it with more build. A centerpiece like this, it's as good as I could get to the actual like pedestal that we have Jellie on in the overworld, and I think that for the space that I've given myself, it does a good job. Then we go ahead and add some decorations around like this, and that is actually the end for the area below. You can tell like what very minimalistic with some of these, like we don't have the path going around in a circle, we don't have the path going in the corners. The platforms look very strange, as well as the greenery and all the statues and stuff are just shrubs, and I don't have the pagodas, and I don't have a lot of space, and I didn't want to make anything too crazy for these two rooms. So now all we have left to do is the roof, and that's going to be pretty simple because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be copying this and putting it up here, because the idea is that I wanted to kind of have it look like we are inside the pedestal that Jellie's been standing on this entire time. And there we go. There is the top of the room done. I was debating on making like a mini Jellie statue here, and I might in the future, but right now I had trouble building that large one. I don't think I can do a smaller one at the moment. And this is what it looks like from the inside. Again, it's very simplistic, but with the size that I want to do these rooms in, it kind of makes sense for them to be as simplistic as this. Now we just go ahead and light up the portal to make sure that it actually goes ahead and takes us to the correct spot, which is still connected up here. That's good. Now we head back and we go ahead and call this project done, or at least this room done. Yeah, like I said, it's very minimalistic, but I think it does what it needs to do well. It's a good room. It tells me what exactly we are heading into. So when we end up connecting these doorways up to like actual tunnels, we'll be able to kind of discern, all right, where am I in the world? And for the last thing that we are going to be doing this week, we're actually going to be staying in the nether, because the thing that I want to work on is this machine over here, our piglin bartering system. Now, the only thing we're really missing from this at the moment is the ability to actually input the gold without having to, you know, go into each dropper, put the gold into there, and then start up. So yeah, we're going to be changing that today, but I went ahead and tested out some ideas, and the first thing we actually need to do is we need to change how we dispense the gold. And that change actually looks a little bit like this. So we now have two hoppers going into the droppers, and the chests are taken out entirely, because what we'll have is we'll have a hopper minecart running across this length. And the other thing is, because of the torch, we needed to move the dropper into a position so that these hoppers wouldn't get locked by the redstone but still power the dropper, and this is the way I found out to work. I just made a little bit of a stone brick staircase with two torches and a redstone line. Now we connect these up to each other and go ahead and run a rail all the way down here, making sure it's powered even without these torches on. And this will be the simple way for the hopper minecart to run back and forth. Now we're going to go ahead and duplicate this on the other side, just like so. And now we're actually going to move away from these two sides and work on the center panel. For the time being, I'm going to get rid of this lever. You'll see why in a bit. The first thing I want to do is get a location for this double chest for our input to go, and I guess it'll go right here. And now here's where I feel like I over-engineered this thing entirely, and this is essentially what I mean by over-engineering. Now I know that doesn't seem like a lot of redstone, but I'm just going to explain quickly how this is going to function. Hopefully it makes sense. So imagine that you have the hopper minecart going across here. It'll come around this bend, and even though we can't see it, let me just get up there. There's a detector rail right here. It runs over the detector rail, activating this redstone, turning off this torch, turning off this line, which goes to this torch tower, and turns this off. Now, because I've got repeaters here, that also means that this stays off for a little bit longer, taking a little bit longer to turn on. And so the minecart is able to come down here, stay for a little bit, and actually pick up the required amount of gold, which will be 20, because it makes 2 passes over every hopper, and there are 10 hoppers, so that's 20 ingots. And then it will come back, repeat the cycle until all the gold is gone from this chest. And now I just have to mirror that on the other side so that I can go that direction. And now that it is mirrored on this side, I now need to bring this track over to that end. And I believe that's essentially the build. Now we do need to do a couple more things, so we're not entirely done, because now what I need to do is I need to somehow make it so I can turn these off, which in theory should be as simple as just putting bring in some redstone because we need these two torches to be off. So we need to toggle or invert their inputs currently. Add a input switch right here. Add our two minecart hoppers right here and here. And hopefully this should work. Let me just go ahead and put in some gold. That's gonna go ahead and disperse into both of these evenly. So we just go ahead, turn down my block sounds for this, flip this lever, and both of them should go. And I just realized I broke one important piece of this, which was this redstone. So how we're gonna fix that is we're just gonna move this block up here. There we go. And now in theory we should be good. Yep, these will keep going, which is fine even if the gold's already completely input. And as you can see, all of our items are going into the chest, thankfully. Now I still need to go ahead and obviously like expand this and possibly even make it a way of, you know, organizing the items, but for right now we'll just keep it at 5 inputs or outputs, I guess technically. Yeah, they're already done trading everything, so now we should just be able to flick the lever to turn it off. Hopefully the minecarts stay, which it seems like they have. Nice. And yeah, all the items are already back down here. Cool. That worked out wonderfully actually, and that means we now have our input system, and I would say even go as far as a completed system. Now of course, like I said, we do still need to expand the output because as you can tell we've got a lot of items that can't stack, but honestly that's not going to be too much of a problem. We'll probably, I've thought about for the water bottles making it into a way of turning dirt into mud would be a good way because I want to keep these bottles. I'm not sure about the potions of fire resistance. The enchanted books we could probably keep, and then the iron boots would be good to smelt, but that's a whole problem in itself. But again, all in all, that does mean that this project is, well, for the most part done. I can't say it's officially done because, well, we still, you know, need to make a few adjustments here and there, but it is working to at least some extent. I can go ahead, put gold into the chest up top, flip the lever, and it does everything for me, so I don't need to worry about that. But sadly, that is going to be where we leave off for this week. We did get a decent amount done because obviously we went ahead and put more villagers into the villager hall, or at least attempted to. I think actually this week we didn't get any new ones, even though I think we had 9, but oh well. C'est la vie. We went ahead and added a flower farm to our plant farm area where our melons, pumpkins, and so forth are. We went ahead and did some more work around the Jellie statue, putting some greenery and fences around the tiny platforms that are around Jellie. And speaking of Jellie, also went ahead and made the nether portal room for that area too, which I'm still quite happy with. Like I said, it's very minimalistic, but it gets the job done. And then finally, we came here and essentially finished this piglin bartering farm. Like I said, we still need to go ahead, expand the output, but that's literally just adding more ice, more hoppers, and more chests, so I'm not too worried about that. So all in all, I'd say this has been a pretty good week. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I thank all of you for watching. You guys all take care. Have a great week, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next one. All right, bye-bye.